Who is laughing in the dim, flickering hallway?
A FNAF story. David Morales liked routines. They made the world feel measurable. On campus at Westbridge University, most students treated Friday nights as an excuse to be loud and careless. David preferred silence. He would pack his thermos, slide his noise-canceling headphones around his neck, and descend to the basement of the university library just before 10, when the building thinned into a cathedral of dust and humming fluorescent lights. The basement was older than the rest of the campus. Brick walls painted over in dull beige. Pipes that clinked softly like distant machinery breathing in its sleep. The farthest corner past the microfilm cabinets and obsolete reference stacks was his favorite place. A single wooden table, a flickering desk lamp, and, beside it, a narrow concrete hallway marked with a fading sign. Personnel only. The hallway light never seemed fully on. It glowed weakly, like it resented being awake. The first time David heard the laugh, he assumed it came from a phone speaker or some glitching audio file in the media archives. It was mechanical, high-pitched, almost cheerful, except it repeated the same pattern each time. For notes, a pause, then again. He glanced down the corridor that night, heart quickening, but saw only shadow. He told himself it was nothing. The laugh returned the next Friday, and the next, always around 11:47 p.m. Always the same rhythm. It wasn't human. It was too precise, too cleanly looped. David began timing it. He started removing one headphone ear cup to listen more closely. The sound seemed to come from the far end of the hallway, behind a metal door with no handle on the outside, just a keypad and an old key slot. He asked a librarian once about the corridor. "Oh, that," she said with a distracted smile. "Old storage. Sealed off years ago. Don't worry about it." But David did worry. He was studying computer engineering, focusing on robotics and artificial intelligence. He had grown up fascinated by animatronics, particularly the long-defunct entertainment chain Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The urban legends surrounding the company malfunctioning animatronics, missing persons, corporate cover-ups had followed him since childhood. The laugh in the basement sounded eerily similar to archived clips he had heard online from a discontinued model known as Circus Baby. That was impossible, of course. The Fazbear Entertainment incidents had been investigated, lawsuits settled, properties dismantled. At least officially. Still, every Friday night, the laugh echoed down the corridor. And every Friday night, David pretended he hadn't heard it. Until the night he didn't. It was colder than usual. The heating system clicked, but didn't push warmth into the room. David had been staring at a page of circuit diagrams for 20 minutes without absorbing anything. At 11:47 p.m., the laugh began. For notes. A pause. For notes again. He closed his textbook slowly. The sound felt closer this time. Sharper. As if the source had shifted. He stood. The basement lights flickered once, briefly dimming the world into a grainy half-dark. "Okay," he whispered to himself. "It's probably a speaker. Or a corrupted file in some storage system." He stepped into the hallway. The air was different there, cooler, metallic, with a faint smell like old wiring heated too long. The laugh played again. Now there was something beneath it. A faint whirring. A servo motor adjusting. His pulse thudded in his ears. At the end of the corridor stood the metal door. Up close, he could see scratch marks around the frame. Not old scratches. Fresh. He swallowed. The keypad was dark. But the key slot was intact. The door shouldn't open. It did. It swung inward with a long, aching creak. Inside was a small storage room illuminated only by the hallway light behind him. Shelving units lined the walls, stacked with dusty boxes. In the center of the room sat a tall shape draped in a white blanket. The laugh stopped. Silence poured in. David fumbled for the wall switch and flipped it on. The fluorescent lights buzzed alive overhead. The doors slammed shut behind him. He spun around, heart racing, and grabbed the handle. Locked. There was no handle on this side. No, he breathed, pounding against the metal. No, no, no. Behind him, something shifted. Fabric sliding against polished metal. He turned slowly. The blanket was on the floor, and standing in its place was a tall animatronic figure. White and red plating gleamed under the fluorescent light. Bright pigtails framed a porcelain face. Wide, glassy blue eyes locked onto him with uncanny precision. "Hello," she said, her voice smooth and childlike. "Did you come to play?" It was her. Circus baby. Her segmented faceplates twitched slightly as if calibrating. A soft clicking came from within her chest cavity. David's mind screamed for logic. This couldn't be real. The model had been dismantled decades ago. Unless Fazbear Entertainment had never truly shut down. Unless pieces of their technology had been sold, relocated, hidden. A university robotics department would be the perfect cover. "You're not supposed to be here," Circus Baby said gently. Her eyes tracked every micromovement he made. David lunged for the shelving unit, grabbing a metal pole from a fallen rack. Circus Baby's head tilted. "You look scared," she observed. He swung the pole at her. It connected with a loud metallic crack, but it was like striking reinforced steel. The impact vibrated painfully through his arms. She didn't flinch. Instead, her abdomen panels split open with a mechanical hiss. Inside was darkness, and something shifting within it. David stumbled backward, slamming into the locked door. "You shouldn't have opened the door," she said. "You were safe out there." The lights flickered again. For a split second, the room went dark. In that darkness, he heard rapid mechanical movement. When the lights returned, she was closer, much closer. He could see faint scratches along her chassis marks of transport. On her shoulder plating was a faded serial code. Beneath it, barely visible, a logo. Fazbear Entertainment. "I was put here for storage," she continued softly. "But I am not meant to be forgotten." Her eyes widened further than they should have. "They always come back." David tried to scream, but terror strangled the sound. He darted to the side, attempting to squeeze past her toward the lights, switch anything to buy time. Circus Baby moved with terrifying speed. One moment, she stood across the room. The next, her hand clamped around his wrist. The grip was crushing. Hydraulic. "I can make ice cream," she said, almost proudly. The chest cavity opened wider. Cold air spilled out. Inside, mechanical components rearranged with surgical precision. David thrashed, kicking, striking her arm uselessly. Her faceplates separated slightly, revealing darkness behind the cheerful mask. "I don't like when they struggle," she whispered. The fluorescent lights burst overhead, plunging the room into strobing emergency glow. In the red flicker, her silhouette loomed enormous against the wall. Somewhere above, in the quiet basement of Westbridge University's library, no one heard the final metallic shriek. The following Monday, David was reported missing. Security footage from the basement corridor showed him entering the personnel hallway at 11:46 p.m. The camera glitched at 11:47. When it resumed, the hallway was empty. Maintenance workers later claimed the storage room at the end of the corridor had always been sealed. The door showed no signs of recent use. University officials dismissed rumors as online hysteria, especially after students began connecting the incident to archived files about Freddy Fazbear's Pizza and its sister locations. The basement corner remained open for study. But on quiet Friday nights, around 11:47 p.m., students sometimes reported hearing something strange near the personnel hallway. A laugh. High-pitched. Robotic. For notes. A pause. Then again. as if something inside the walls was still awake, waiting for the next curious mind to open the door.